Okay, systems are go.
Okay, so this records automatically? Or do you do user
Yes.
recording? Well, I'm assuming this is being recorded, so let me call the meeting to order, the Technical Transportation Committee. It's June 17th at 2:30. And let me begin by determining who's here, at least virtually. So let me call the roll. I'm John Fricker and I'm here. I know Sally is here. Jeremy Grenard. Bill Smith, are you here, Bill?
I am here.
Thank you. Stu Klein, I can see.
Here.
How about Lafayette Police Department? Bill Carpenter? I hear no answer. Mitch Lankford for Lafayette City Engineer.
I'm here.
Thank you. Jim Knapp for Purdue University Airport. Jim Knapp? Not yet. Bryce Gibson for GLPTC.
I'm here.
Thank you, Bryce. Captain Ricks for the County Sheriff. John Ricks? Not yet. Okay. Jason Philhauer for West Lafayette Police.
John Ricks
Jason,
just
are
showed
you
up.
here? Okay, that's
I don't know
my.
if you heard that John Ricks is here now.
Who's here?
I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay, Jason? Okay. Now somehow,
Also, Jim Knapp is also
Yes.
listening in. It says that he's working on his phone connection.
okay, I know the feeling because I had trouble last month. Okay. Now, if you are listening in and would like to be recognized, please somehow, if you could speak up or use the chat box that I can't find on my screen just yet. Anybody else? There must be somebody else. I know Doug Pode. And is Tim Stroh's in there? Tim, are you listening in?
Jim Knapp is here.
Okay, Jim's here. Good, thank you. Tim,
I'm here.
thank you. And who else that you know of is connected with us?
Ari is here.
Okay,
This is Jason Philhauer. I'm on by phone.
great, thank you. Anybody else we should be aware of who's participating? I see Woody Ricks listed now. Well, maybe some others will make themselves known as we go through the meeting. So if we're ready to begin.
Oh,
Hello.
Dave Griffey is also present.
Okay, good. And he represents whom?
Lafayette.
Okay. That's right, good. Okay, let's go on to the first item on the agenda. That's approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. So anybody like to move approval of those minutes?
Stu Klein, move approval.
Thank you, Stu.
Second, Jeremy Grenard.
Jeremy, thank you. Basically, most of the minutes had to do with the progress reports for each of the projects. Are there any needs or any need to make any corrections? If not, let me go through the roll and please say yes or no as to whether you approve of the minutes. Jeremy,
Yes.
Bill Smith,
Yes.
Stu Klein,
Yes.
is William Carpenter here from Lafayette Police? No response there. Mitch Lankford,
Yes.
Jim Knapp,
Yes.
thank you. Bryce Gibson, Bryce, do you approve the minutes?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes. Woody Ricks,
Yes.
thank you. Jason Philauer?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved unanimously. Are there any access permits from MnDOT? That would be
So
Bill Smith.
hi, John. I can report that we have had no new applications since the last meeting for commercial drive access. But is this the time to quickly comment on the Anvil site on 38 and the Speedway site on 52, or is that later in the meeting?
Well, I think they would fit in now. Is there any, even if it doesn't have a specific access permit request, why don't you go ahead?
Well, they do. They're active. They've applied. They haven't been issued yet. So Anvil, I think, came up at the last meeting, and I can report that we have reviewed those plans and are at a point where we're ready to accept the plans, but Anvil has a bond and a couple other paperwork items they haven't completed yet. So if Jeremy or anyone is concerned at all before that gets issued by NDOT, we're really close. That's State Road 38 near Haggerty. And I think it was talked about at the last meeting a little bit. Speedway, we've talked about a lot because of limited access off of Veterans Memorial. So Veterans Memorial on 52, not sure where we are other than we did plan review this morning and there are still multiple issues that need to be corrected. So I can't even tell you where we are on what we think we will or won't allow off of 52. Still not sure where they are with you, Jeremy, for access off of Veterans Memorial. More to come. That one just keeps dragging on because they're not doing a great job of providing things we're asking for and helping get final decisions made. So those are the two in the pipeline that we've talked about, and nothing new has come in since the last meeting.
All
Any
right, thank
discussion
you.
on
Any
those?
questions about those or comments? Let me sneak in a question about a different project, Sagamore Commons in north of Applebee's. So there's activity up there. Does anybody happen to know when that's scheduled to be opened? Because somebody asked me and I didn't know.
I do not know.
Okay. Seems like it's ways off yet. Okay, anything else about item under the rubric of access permits? Okay, I'm going to item 3 on the agenda, if you don't mind. And that's to do with administrative modifications to the TIP fiscal years 2020 to 2024. There was an item in your packet. And I'll turn this over to Sally, I believe.
An administrative modification from May 20th. And that moved Wabash Center's minivan project from the unfunded column of the TIP to the funded column of the TIP. Their project is $136,809, with federal portion being $109,448. The second TIP modification was moving the last of our, or nearly the last of our unallocated money from fiscal 2020 to city bus. Part of that will be used for the bus shelter and sidewalk program, and the other part of those leftover funds will be used for their software ridership software project. That actually is being done as a complete TIP amendment, but that's how part of that leftover money was used. And we did get word today that Federal Highway is moving the money to NDOT, and NDOT is moving the money to Federal Transit Administration.
All right. Thank you. Any questions about that? At this point, Bryce should say thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Item 4, speaking about amending the TIP, that's next on the agenda. Is this still Sally?
There's three parts to this request. The first part is some accounting cleanup in that earlier this year, we reported that NDOT sent us the final fiscal year 2020 funding numbers. And there is a small difference between what we had planned and what was actually, they said that we will be getting as our final number. Instead of looking at our 2020 projects, they asked us to take that reduction, which is a tad over $14,000 in our FY 2021 project list. In looking at specifics for safety funds, there was only one project requesting the full amount, and that was the North River Road project. Unfortunately, that'll be reduced by $10,915. The Transportation Alternative Fund request, we only had one, Lindbergh Road, which will receive an extra $550. The one fund specifically we need to discuss is the STBG federal funds. We will need to reduce one of the projects, or one of the project by $3,872. They are all looking to go to construction in the fiscal year. The first one is Lindbergh Road, the second one is Park East, and the third is North River Road. So this committee needs to decide which one of those projects we are going to reduce by the $3,872. This is where I need your help. We need your help to pick.
I'd step in there. Lindbergh is already underfunded to the tune of, instead of 80-20, it's at 60-40 right now. So anything in there is straight out of pocket. So I guess we all agree it won't be Lindbergh, right?
Anybody else?
Which year are we looking at, Doug?
We're looking at fiscal year 2021, which will begin here in a couple weeks.
Jeremy, this is Sally. Are you at the 80-20 mark on Park East? Or are you below 80-20?
I'm below.
And what about North River Road?
Road in total is a hair below. I'd have to pull up the quarterly report to check. It's not like Lindbergh.
I guess the only thing I'd say about the North River Road safety project is that it's a 90-10 project. So it's already a little better funded, at least in theory, than a regular STBG project.
Okay, if I'm looking at this right though, our total, we're not getting the 90-10, we're at overall 84%. So, you know, it's not the 60-40 that Lindbergh is, but it's still losing. not as bad. I don't know how bad Twickenham is. If we were going to take a hit on something, I guess it would be that one. Jeremy could volunteer.
Well, I know if you look at the current estimate, I think it looks like we're 80-20, but the latest estimate is considerably higher.
Yeah.
So that's going to be changing.
Yeah. So I think they're all losers. I said Lindbergh's the worst loser. The window's open. We're talking about $13,000.
Doug, is that the amount?
I'm sorry, what?
What was the amount? 13,000?
For STBG, it's 3,872.
Oh,
That's
A
all.
very small amount. And the North River Road project's already gonna take a hit of almost 11,000 from the safety funds.
What was that about River Road on the HSI funding?
The safety funds, when you look at that specifically, HSIP in section 164, that was the biggest or largest reduction, and it's almost $11,000.
It's the only place it can.
well, it sounds like to me if they're taking the hit on that, then we should take the hit on the remainder.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'll go ahead and mark that down.
Okay.
And looking at the other two requests, the first is from Area 4 Council on Aging. They are providing now service 5311 within the rural portions of Tippecanoe County. And they did receive federal funds for providing this service of roughly $60,000. So this amendment will program that project in the TIP. And the last request is from NDOT. We are removing two projects that are listed, changing one project, the project scope, and then putting in two other projects, district-wide maintenance projects. For two of those maintenance projects, the contract has an optional second year, so we are adding that information as well. Any questions?
At this point, if there's no discussion, we go to a vote to recommend approval and send it on to the policy board. Is there anything needs to be said before the vote? Okay, let me go down the roll again, and I'll ask you to vote yes or no on the amendment to the TIP. So Jeremy,
Yes.
Bill Smith, yes or no to the amendment?
My apologies, John. Mr. Knapp had me sidetracked for a minute. Yes
Okay.
to the amendment.
Thank you. Stu Klein,
Yes.
is Bill Carpenter here yet? Lafayette Police? Mitch Langford,
Yes.
Jim Knapp, Jim Knapp, yes or no?
Maybe I have him sidetracked now.
Yeah. And now you're on camera. Yeah. Well, we'll get to Jim Knapp if we'll catch him later. Bryce Gibson, yes or no?
Yes.
Woody Ricks,
Yes.
Jason Philhauer, yes or no?
Sally's a
Jim Knapp?
yes.
Okay, he said yes. Okay, and Jim Knapp, one more try. Well, everybody who voted yes, so we'll consider that unanimous. Although I didn't, you said Jason said yes, I didn't hear from Jim. So,
Sally said yes.
okay, good. You get to vote?
Yeah, and so do you.
Okay. Then I say yes. So that is item 4 on the agenda. Item 5 is the progress report from APC, starting with the monthly funding report within the MPO update.
I get the pleasure of covering this. This is the standard monthly report that we keep sending out to track our obligation of federal funds for the fiscal year. As you can see on top, there's a lot of information that NDOT has provided us. When you compare it to the bigger table in the middle, it shows a lot of numbers. Overall, there were some issues between two projects, Klondike and Jaeger, the funding, but that was in terms of funding category and not the amount. And information from NDOT central office was that they were wanting to pull funds from certain categories before others. So that's why there is that difference. The only other information on this report was taken care of last Thursday, and that is moving the balance of federal funds from 4 projects to city bus via the modification that Sally mentioned earlier, and through the TIP amendment, and as Sally reported also that those funds have been transferred. So once again, we have successfully obligated all of our federal gas tax this year.
Okay.
Yes. Questions?
Okay, the next item would be the transportation reauthorization bill. Who's
That'll be
keeping?
Sally.
Okay, Sally?
This is information that I received about a week and a half ago at the virtual National Association of Regional Councils annual meeting. I'm mostly going to report on the House reauthorization bill, but there is also a Senate bill having been proposed. All I know about the Senate bill is that it was developed in a bipartisan way. And I do know that at least at this point, AASHTO is aligning with the Senate bill. The House bill is the one I know the most about. It was developed apparently completely in a partisan way, which sort of gives us a question about how well it will succeed in a conference committee with the Senate. But at least at the moment, it is called Invest in America Act. INVEST stands for Investing in a New Vision for the Environment and Surface Transportation. Some of the good news is that it is funded at a higher level than any bill in the past at $494 billion over 5 years. The first part of the bill actually is a one-year extension of the FAST Act so that there is no new policy associated with it. There may be included in that first year some additional funding for STBG and some administrative MPO expenses. And there's some thought, at least at the moment, that that might be at 100%, but I can't tell you any more than that. Part 2 is the actual reauthorization, which would be for only 4 years, but it does increase the STBG funding pot. They're proposing going back to the decades-old language of STP, which I think most people would be happy about. And then there would also be some additional planning money, which is potentially a good thing, except that it also comes with a lot more rigor in the planning arena, including 2 additional performance measures, one for transportation accessibility and one for climate. Today was the day for markup. So from here, presumably it would go to some kind of a vote, and then it would have to go to conference committee with the Senate because the Senate has its own bill, and they would swap and then decide they're going to play nice with each other. So that's what I know at the moment, and we'll see how this sort of plays out over the next months. By September, I would think, or well, September for sure, there would be some additional information. If the House bill in some form is adopted, then it would begin with federal fiscal year 2022, which would be October 21st of calendar year 21. So that's what I know at the moment, and I'll keep you up to date as I learn more.
All right, thank you. Questions about that? All right, is there any other business for us to consider? No, I guess I missed the letting list. Can't miss that one.
Yeah, it's a fairly extensive list. This year, as you look at it, there are a significant number of projects that have been added. Of course, all of them are NDOT projects. The vast majority of them are maintenance related, specifically looking mostly at I-65 and State Road 25. And there are a few other new projects that are on other state roads as well. Begin with looking at projects 1 and 2. These were on State Road 225 and were let on the May 7th letting. And the bid letting results are on the last page. That went to Milestone Contractors for almost $2.5 million. When I was looking at the bidding results, I did notice another project. This one did not show up on the normal download when I just look at Tippecanoe County, but I did come across it. This DES number is in the tip, and it's a bridge maintenance project district-wide, so I included it. It's awarded to Reith Riley for just a pinch over $1.3 million. If you look down the list, we only have 3 basically that are local projects, 30, 31, and 32, and they are still on a January 13th of 2021 letting. The next big letting for us project-wise will be in October. All of those projects are on 25, and then that follows with a big letting in November, with most of those on I-65. Questions?
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Does Tim get to say anything this meeting? Tim Stroheim?
Yeah, I have been monitoring for comments, and at least so far, we have not gotten any public comments, but we usually wait about 30 seconds or so due to the delay of our stream.
All right, thank you. I have found the chat room here, the chat boxes. we can move on to the next item on the agenda, and we always can come back if somebody sends in a comment. That'd be other business, if there is any. Then item 7 will be citizen comments.
Still none.
Okay, I was gonna wait the 30 seconds because the next item is adjournment until the next meeting on July 15th. And hearing, if there's no objection to adjourning, I will do that as long as we're sure that nobody's missed out on a chance to either comment or let us know that they've been listening in. I have Carla Sheets here. Has she been listening in? Because I have a list of 20 people who may or may not be part of the meeting.
John, I have one last item.
Good. Go ahead, Sally.
What we don't know yet for sure is whether we will be meeting in person again in July. Depends on largely on the governor. And if we are, then we would likely go back to the Board of Works room, if that's okay with Lafayette, and the meetings would return to 2 o'clock.
Mhm.
The only reason we're meeting at 2:30 is because the weekly COVID-19 health press conference is at 1, and it's a little difficult for us to get set up in time for a 2 o'clock meeting. But we'll let you know what happens in July.
Okay, let's hope that works out. So anybody else? Okay, let me then, without objection, adjourn the meeting, and we'll see you somehow or another next month on July 15th.